Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Zone 8A garden, and today we're going to be starting a ton of snapdragons from seed and planting some green dragon cress out in the garden. Alright, so our temperatures are a little bit more mild today, only like 95 degrees, which is amazing, and we are expecting a little bit of rain. So I thought it might be a good opportunity to go ahead and get some seedlings planted out. I have these green dragon cress that is ready to go. I planted this, I created this by seed indoors, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And you can see all the roots hanging out the bottom, definitely ready to go into the garden. This is a really great filler. It kind of has a flowery look, but it's also really great for green foliage for your cut flowers. So we'll get that in soon. And then we're going to be starting a bunch of snapdragon seeds. Now, snapdragons, I really got into them the last couple of years, and I really had success this last spring into early summer. They're just doing really well. And the way I had success was starting my snapdragons inside by seed in the late summer, planting them out into the garden in the fall, and overwintering them. This gave me more robust, healthy plants that were ready to go early spring. Now, the best way to get really tall, long snapdragons for cut flowers is to grow them from seed. All the ones that we're going to talk about today are going to be from Johnny's, but you can also get them from Swallowtail Garden Seeds. You can get them from Baker Creek. You can get them from a wide variety of places. You don't have to get them just from Johnny's, although they have an excellent selection. Now, snapdragons are divided into 4 groups, group 1, 2, 3, and 4. Basically, group 1, the lower number 1, is for the ones that handle a little bit more cool temps and the shortest amount of daylight time. As you go through the groups and you get to higher numbers, they handle more moderate or hotter temps, and they handle longer daylight time. However, in Zone 8A, North Texas, where I'm located, I found that most of my snapdragons were done by the end of June. They will still produce some blooms here and there, but they're scrawny and they don't look good, and that's just because the heat is just unbearable and it's very dry here. So what I do is I just keep those blooms cut back during the summer. I don't allow it to produce blooms and just allowing it to survive at this point. And what I'll do right about now is I'll really start hitting it with some fertilizer, and I should get a whole nother flush of blooms during the fall gardening season. Okay, so let's talk about the ones that we're gonna work on today, and we'll talk about them in groups. So the first ones that are in group 1-2, so these are your early ones, early in the season. They like the cooler temps, and they don't mind the shorter daylight time. The first one is Chantilly Light Salmon. This one is about 28 to 36 inches tall. I also have a Chantilly Purple, and this one is about 28 to 36 inches tall as well. And then the Chantilly White, which is about 28 to 36 inches tall as well. The next group I have is group 2, and that is going to be my Costa Apricot, also about 28 to 36 inches tall. And these are about 100 to 110 days to produce blooms, just so you know. Another group 2 is Costa Silver. This is one of my favorites, and it is 28 to 36 inches tall. Going on to group 3, a true group 3 is a Costa Summer, and this is a Costa Summer Lavender 3, and this is about 40 to 60 inches tall. And then the remainder of them are group 3 to group 4, so we're at the end of the spectrum, so these are the ones that don't mind a little bit more warmer temps and longer daylight time. The first one is Potomac Lavender, and it's about 40 to 60 inches tall. The next one is Potomac Royal, and it is 40 to 60 inches tall. The next 3 are Madam Butterfly series, which I really like. They're kind of frilly and kind of old-fashioned looking. They're really fun. Madam Butterfly Ivory, 26 to 36 inches tall. Madam Butterfly Bronze, 26 to 36 inches tall. And Madam Butterfly Bronze with White, 26 to 36 inches tall. So starting snapdragons is pretty simple because they're surface sow. So I've already got my containers filled with my soil. I use the BM7 soil, which is a standard potting mix from farmers, from Homegrown in Farmersville, Texas. It's kind of light and frothy, so it works really well for a seed starter as well as a potting soil. And I've just gone through and I've kind of put all my soil in. I typically work with dry soil first, use my fingers to push it down, and then put another layer over the top. Very simple. And since Snapdragons are, the seeds go right on the surface, they prefer light, you literally are just going to drop them in place. I feel like the only really hard part is how small they are, so let's look at that. All right, we'll go ahead and start with the Chantilly light salmon. I've gone ahead and made my little label for it. And so there's supposed to be 250 seeds in this little packet, which is insane to me, but these are so tiny, as you can see right here. They literally look like dust. Just like that, so tiny. And so basically I'm just going to give a little sprinkle of a seed or two into each of the cells. No, I'm not going to hand pick out each individual seed, but you can do that with a like a wet toothpick. It's supposed to work pretty well. I'll just go this way because truthfully it would drive me insane to have to divide out all of these seeds. So anyway, they literally look like pepper almost, or they're even smaller than I think poppy seeds, which is insane to me. So we've got those started, and I'm just going to start one tray of each. Y'all, I have a small garden. I don't use a lot of those 72-inch trays that are so massive, just because most seeds have different germination conditions, and so I don't need to start 72, and this allows me to control the conditions of each individual variety of seeds. So what I've done is I've done that at this point. I am going to come through and give them a little bit of a press just to make sure that we have them firmly in place. And then I am going to start put some vermiculite on that. I have been finding myself leaning more towards vermiculite lately. This just helps keep things moist on top. We're not going to go really heavy because these, like I said, these are surface sow. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for each of the seeds that we're starting today, and then I'll show you what I do to moisten the soil and get these prepped for germination. Okay, I'm not done with starting the seeds, but I heard outside thunder. I didn't want to miss it. I wanted to be out here. So I've got my green crust seedlings. They do reseed themselves, so I definitely found lots throughout the garden last year, and I didn't realize what they were early on, so I pulled them all up, not understanding what they actually were. But we'll go ahead and get these sweet little seedlings planted up, which will be awesome. And I'm just kind of tucking them in among some of this marigold and rudbeckia. My rudbeckia has been struggling with the heat. But this will be nice. And you can pack these in pretty good. Oh, I feel drips, drops. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, looks good. The soil is moist. I'm not going to worry about getting these watered, and the seedlings are really moist when I put them in, so I feel good about that. And my drips are set to go off and not too long either, and so we'll be good to go on this. But this will be good to get these started, and I'll be able to probably in the next like 20 to 30 days, I'll be able to start harvesting this. Okay, here is a green cress that has grown up. You can see it's starting to produce its little flowers, but it's looking really good. Kind of give you a general idea of what that looks like. The garden is struggling, but also starting to show some signs of life. Look at this guy, Zinnia. So pretty. Some other fun zinnias coming up. These are the blush. Those are pretty. Got some celosia. I believe this is the bright Sunday pink, I believe. Need to cut back my David's phlox right here and get another flush from it. Garden's trying. It's hot, but it's trying. Okay, so we have all of these planted up. They look great. So the next step is, I know it's a little bit different from what most gardeners do, is I don't start with moist soil. So I start with dry soil. I find the whole process easier that way. So basically I just add water to the bottom of my containers, and then I pop in my seed cells, and then they're good to go. Once I've done that, then I will add a humidity dome. All of these containers are on my Amazon storefront, which are dropped below. These are ones I like the most because they're just tidy, small, appropriate for the size garden that I have, and appropriate for the amount of seedlings that I am interested in starting. So I always make sure my humidity dome is closed. Once 50 to 60% of your seedlings have germinated, then you take your humidity dome off and you leave it off. These do prefer to be at about 70 to 75 degrees for the best germination. My house is around that range, so I'm not going to be putting these on a heat mat because I will be starting them inside under my grow lights. If you're doing something like starting these in the garage and it's cooler in your area, you might want to use a heat mat to make sure you're getting up to that temperature. Okay, feeling good about that. We've got them all lined up. I do have them under grow lights because they do need light for germination. Just like that. And these take about 7 to 14 days to germinate. And once again, once you have about 50 to 60% of them germinating, then you want to go ahead and remove the humidity dome. But these all look really good. Here's all of my viola and pansy seedlings down here. They are taking their sweet time. That's actually straw flower. They're taking their sweet time. I'm very glad I started them so early, and I will have them for late fall, early winter planting. And then here's Buffy down here. And over here, this seed rack, I set up my old seed rack again. I just need more space. I think I'm going to set up an additional one over here, actually. Everything's looking really good. Mammoth basil, tip-top nasturtium. These are marigolds right here. This is Zanzibar. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my spicy saber basil, but it's getting better. Down here I have alyssum. And here I have delphinium, lilac, pink, white, and I have just the very start. You can see that very little bit green right in the middle. Just starting to get those going. I have my Swiss chard. This is some of the basil that's not looking really good. I've just been trying to pinch off the parts that don't look great. I have a lot of crimson clover down here. Back here is more straw flower, and this is Godetia. This is Japanese flowering kale. Sweet peas, April and Paris are doing really well, but I only got one of the Mermaid Dreams mix, but they were an older seed. And then my Lysianthus taking their sweet, precious time, but you can see them in there. They're looking good. So definitely think I want to set up another seed rack just like this. This works really well for my larger seedlings, as you can see. Everything fits. A lot of this is going to get planted out tomorrow, which will be nice. I think I actually hear raindrops, y'all. No raindrops. I hope it gets over to us. Oh, I feel the just very slightest of raindrops. Yay! Okay, well, I'm outside because if it's going to rain, I'm totally going to be out here dancing in the rain and enjoying because it's probably going to be a while before we have some more. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was very casual, just starting a whole bunch of Snapdragons. If you haven't grown Snapdragons before, I highly suggest you get those started. You can start them now in the fall, but you can also start them in the spring. You can start them, well, when I say start in the spring, I would start them in like January, so they're ready to go out once your first frost is here. And I'm talking about my particular area. They typically need to be started, Snapdragons need to be started 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost. And so you need to just calculate when your last frost is. The FedEx car is loud. Calculate when your last frost is and then count backwards from there. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up. And make sure you check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.